Okay, so
yeah,
yeah,
I think
you can just announce that.
yeah.
Yeah, I
All
can
right.
start
So
now.
because of technical errors and Prof. Jahangir's session has been shifted to the second slot, and um, Dr. Rafia's session is being moved to the first slot. Okay, and Prof. Jahangir issues his sincere apologies for the problems. It's unavoidable, basically, as we all know. So without any further ado, I would like to hand over the floor to Dr. Rafia. And all the best. Please make sure that it's a good learning experience and you make full use of, the presenter's time as well as your own. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yasab, for you also contribute to this workshop to become the moderator. I'm grateful for that, our organizing committee. So without further delay, since Prof. Jahangir Alam, he actually apologized because of this in network problem. So I switched because I was supposed to present on the afternoon. So now actually I have to present. So let me first share my slides. So may I know whether you can see my PowerPoint?
Yes, Professor. Yes.
Okay. So Assalamualaikum, everyone, and very good morning. So today I will present, the topic is logistic regression model, the theory, concept, and application. So here I basically, that this when the, in the regression, when the dependent variable, it is not, quantitative, it is qualitative. In that case, we cannot use the normal, the simple linear regression. In that case, we have to use the, the response or the qualitative, regression model. So one of the regression is the logistic regression. So let's start. So first, I want to discuss what are the nature of the qualitative response models. So suppose we want to study the labor force participation decision of adult females. In this case, either an adult female in the workforce is the response or the dependent variable. That means in this regression, our dependent variable, or we can say that like the response variable, is whether the adult female, they will be in the workforce or not. That means the labor force participation, or LFP, is a yes or no decision. Or you can say that the dependent variable, you can, only two values. For example, it will be 1 if the person is in the labor force, and 0 if she or he is not. So in other words, we can say that the dependent variable, it is a binary or dichotomous variable. So labor economics research suggests that the LFP decision is the function of the wife wage, that means the female labor, their wage, education, children below 6 years old, family income, and there are also some other variables, for example, unemployment and wage rate. Okay, so there are also some other variables which can, which can affect the LFP decision. So in a model where the dependent variable Y is quantitative, okay, in that case, what is our objective? Our objective is to estimate its expected or the mean value, given use of the independent variable. That means we want to estimate the expected value of the, like the Y for the given value of the independent variable, where the independent variable X, and this independent variable can be quantitative or qualitative. But suppose that the model where the Y, it is not, the quantitative variable, here if it is qualitative variable, the independent variable. In that case, what will be our objective? It will be to find the probability of something happening, such as participating in the labor force. In that case, qualitative response regression model are often known as the probability models. So what do we understand from here? That if the dependent variable, it is not quantitative variable, it is qualitative. In that case, our objective will be to find out the probability of something happening. Okay, in this case, suppose participating in the labor force. And that kind of model, we call it probability model. So there are three approaches to developing the probability model for a binary response variable. Like just now I mentioned to you that it can be 0 or 1. So there are three kinds of approaches. One is linear probability model, second one logit model, third one is the probit model. So today I will mainly discuss the linear probability model and the logit model. Okay, so here first I'm discussing the linear probability model. To fix the ideas, consider this is the regression model, where Y it indicate the whether the family is a house, and 0 if it does not own a house. So this is just another example. Like Y, it is the binary response variable, where Y value it will be 1 if the family owns a house, and it will be 0 if it does not own a house. And X it indicate the family income. And beta 0, you know that this is the intercept, and beta 1 it is the slope or coefficient for this income. Okay, so now if we want to estimate, this is called the expected value of yi for the given value of xi or for the given value of income, then the estimated regression will be beta 0 plus beta 1 xi. And because the expected value of this stochastic error term ei, it will be equal to 0. So in that case, this expected value of yi for the given value of xi, it indicates the probability of a family owning a house and whose income is the given amount of xi. So now, if suppose pi, it indicates the probability that yi is equal to 1. That means the event will occur, and 1 minus py, it will be the probability that yi equal to 0. That means the event does not occur. So the variable yi, it has this following probability distribution. That means the value of y, it is 0, and its probability will be 1 minus pi, and the y value 1, its probability will be pi. And you know that when we sum up the probability of all possible outcome, it should be always equal to 1. And from here we can understand that yi, it follows the Bernoulli probability distribution. So now if I want to calculate the expected value of this probability distribution, or we can say that the mean value of this probability distribution, it will be EYI, that means the mean value of this probability distribution. It will be like the value of yi, it is 0 times its probability, okay, plus the value of yi, 1 times its probability pi. So this part will be 0. That means the expected value of yi, it will be equal to the probability. So from here you can say that this regression, estimated regression, basically it will be the probability. Okay, that means if we get the estimated regression, we can get basically the estimated probability. So lastly, we can say that we know everybody that the probability pi must lie between 0 and 1. So that means we have this restriction. That means the probability or expected value of yi for the given value of xi, it will be greater than 0, but it will be always less than 1. Okay, so now suppose the linear probability model, this one, okay, yi equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 xi plus ui, where x just now I mentioned to you, this is the family income, and y, it is the 1 when family owns a house, and 0 if it does not own a house. So here I'm just giving you one example, like how we can interpret this linear probability model. So suppose this is the hypothetical data on home ownership, y equal to 1 if just now I mentioned to you, own house, and 0 otherwise, and income is x, okay? and it is thousands of dollars. So this is the data for 40 families, their income and the ownership. So now using the e-views and using the ordinary least square method, okay, I estimate this regression, okay, and I got this result. So first we can see that this is the the intercept of this regression, and this is the the slope or coefficient. Okay, so first let us interpret this regression, the intercept, negative 0.9457. It gives the probability that a family with zero income will own a house. Since this value is negative, and we just now mentioned to you that probability cannot be negative, we treat this value as zero, which is sensible in the present instance. And how to interpret this slope, or coefficient? The slope value of this 0.1021, it means that for a unit change in income, here suppose it is $1,000, on the average, the probability of owning a house increases by 0.1021, or about we can say that 10%. So now, of course, using this estimated regression for a given or the particular level of income, we can estimate the actual probability of owning a house from the estimated regression, because from the previous slide we found that this estimated Y value, basically this is the that means if we can calculate this estimated Y value, we can calculate the estimated probability using this estimated regression. So I am giving here one example. Suppose X equal to 12, that means it is in 1,000, that means X equal to 12,000. That means if any person or any house, his income is 12,000, then what will be the probability of owning a house? So you can calculate it, that the probability will be, okay, you just, write down like minus 0.9457 plus 12, okay, because the X value 12 times with this, coefficient, and it is 0.2795. So we can say that the probability that a family with an income of 12,000 will own a house is about 28%. Okay, so now similarly, if we just estimate all the Y hat value for the different value of X, we will get this one. Okay, I use the Excel, okay, to calculate this Y hat, or we can say this Y hat basically indicate the probability. So for different value of X, okay, we will, using this estimated regression, we get the Y hat or the estimated probability. Okay, and from this, if you look at here, this row, okay, you can say that there are basically 6 estimated values are negative. For example, one is here and here. So, and one is here. So one is here. So these are the negative values of probability. And there are 6 values which are in excess of 1. For example, here, this is, excess like more than 1. And this is also more than 1. And that means there are 6 values which are more than 1. So we can say that this, expected probability, since it is showing that there are some values of negative, some values are more than 1. So that is the problem of the, linear probability model, because probability cannot be less than 0. It cannot be more than 1. So it should be basically greater than 0, but less than 1. So we now from here, what we found? We found that this is the problem of this linear probability model, that when the dependent variable, it is like binary, okay, 0 and 1. In that case, if we estimate the regression, okay, using this ordinary least square method, we get the probability which can be negative, or there are some values which are more than 1. So that is one of the problem of this linear probability model. And another problem of this linear probability model, that although ordinary least square method, that it does not require the disturbance like Ui, or here I mentioned like eta I, stochastic error, to be normally distributed, but we assume them to be so distributed for the purpose of the statistical inference. But the assumption of normality for Ui is not tenable for the LPM, because like Yi, the disturbance UI also, take two values. That is, they also follow the Bernoulli distribution. This can be seen clearly if we write, this equation. Like from here, we can get ui is equal to yi minus beta 1 minus beta 2 xi. So if I write down the probability distribution of ui, it will be like when yi equal to 1, okay, I just put here 1, then we will get ui will be 1 minus beta 1 minus beta 2 xi. And when yi equal to 0, then ui will be minus beta 1 minus beta 2 xi. So that means for this ui value, the probability pi, and when y equal to 0, this will be the ui, and its probability will be 1 minus pi. So from here, we can understand that u cannot be assumed to be normally distributed. They also follow the Bernoulli distribution because it has two outcomes. Okay, so now heteroscedastic variances of the disturbance. This is also another problem of this linear probability model. Even if ui equal to 0, expected value of ui, and the covariance of ui and uj equal to 0, for I equal to z, that means no serial correlation, it can no longer be maintained that in the LPM, the disturbances are homoscedastic. That means, however, not surprising. Excuse me. So as statistical theory shows, for a Bernoulli distribution, the theoretical mean and variance are respectively like P and P times 1 minus P, where P is the probability of success. That means something happening, showing that the variance is the function of the mean. So that means P indicate the mean, and P times 1 minus P, it will be the variance. So hence the error variance is heteroscedastic. So that means variance ui, it is pi times 1 minus pi. That means the variance of the error term in the LPM model is heteroscedastic, since you know that pi, okay, it indicates this, estimated regression. So the variance of ui ultimately depends on the values of x, and hence it is not homoscedastic, because here the value of y, it depends on x. So that means pi, okay, it also depends on xi. So we can say that the ui ultimately depends on the value of x, and it cannot be homoscedastic. So now that's why in order to avoid this problem, we now introduce two nonlinear models for binary choices, the probit model and the logit model. But remember that in this discussion today, I will only focus on probit model, logit model, which ensure that the choice probabilities remain between 0 and 1. That means when we use the logit model, our probability, it does not have the value of negative, or it does not have the value of more than 1. It will be between 0 and 1. So to keep the choice probability within the interval 0 and 1, a non-linear S-shaped or sigmoid curve can be used. So you can see in this figure, one such curve is illustrated here for the case of single explanatory variable x. For example, if suppose beta 2 is greater than 0, that means when x increases, beta 1 plus beta 2x also increases. That means the probability curve rises rapidly at first. So in the beginning, it rapidly, okay, increasing first, but it begins to increase at a decreasing rate. That means it keeping the probability less than 1, because if it is increasing here at the increasing rate, it exceeds the this 1 value. So that's why it is increasing but at a decreasing rate. That's why it can keep the probability less than 1 no matter how large the x value. So that means here x value, how much large it doesn't it is not affecting, because this here the probability, this curve, it is increasing but at a decreasing rate. So it can maintain the value, probability value, like, and on the left side also, when the x value decreases, it never touches this x-axis. It goes along this. So that means the probability value cannot be, less than 0. So, so that means it goes like between the value 0 and 1. Okay, so that is the characteristics of this logit model. In other words, you can say that the probability approaches but never reaches to 0. So the sigmoid or S-shaped curve in this figure, very much it is resembled to the cumulative distribution function or CDF of a random variable. Random variable means, just now mentioned, it is a binary. It can take any value by chance, like 0 and 1. So therefore, one can easily use the CDF to model regression where the response variable is dichotomous, taking 0 and 1 values, 0 to 1 values. So now, what is CDF? Just briefly, I explained to you. The CDF or cumulative distribution function of a random variable x is simply the probability that it takes a value less than or equal to for this given value of x0, where x0 is some specified numerical value of x. In short, we can say that fx, the CDF of x, it is, for this given value of x0, it like x should be always less than x0. Okay, so now I'm now explaining here the logic model. So we will continue with our example of weighing a house to explain the basic ideas underlying this logic model. Recall that in explaining the house ownership in relation to income, the linear probability model was like this. Okay, where x indicate income, y equal to 1 if the family owns a house, and 0 if it does not own a house. So, but we consider the following representation of probability of weighing a house. Okay, like Pi equal to expected value of yi for the given value of xi, it will be equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus, okay, minus beta, minus in the bracket beta 1 plus beta 2 xi. So here, suppose this part is equal to zi, we assume this one. So that means we can write down Pi is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z, or we can write down this one, e to the power z divided by 1 plus e to the power z after, simplifying this part. So now we can write down like 1 minus Pi equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power z. Lastly, we can write down Pi divided by 1 minus Pi is equal to e to the power z. But remember that z is equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 xi. So now here, this Pi divided by 1 minus Pi, this is simply the odds ratio in favor of owning a house. The ratio of the probability that a family will own the house to the probability that it will not own the house. Thus, suppose if Pi equal to 0.8, it means that the odds are 4 to 1 in favor of the family owning the house. So now if we take the natural log of this above equation, we can obtain very interesting result like this one. If we take the, the natural log, so we can get like ln Pi divided by 1 minus Pi, it will be equal to Zi, because you know that when we take the ln, this E will be eliminated. And we know that this Zi, it is equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 xi. So here, this L, it is basically the log of the odds ratio. Is not only linear in x, but also linear in the parameter. Okay, so this L, we call it logic, and hence the model is named as logic model. Okay, so this is our logic model. So how we can now interpret this logic model? So here, beta 1, this is the slope. How to interpret this one? It measures the change in log L, that means in this, log of these odds for a unit change in x. That means it tells how the log odds in favor of getting a loan change when the income changes by a unit, for example, suppose $1,000. And what does this intercept indicate? It indicates the value of the log odds in favor of owning a house if income is 0. Like most interpretation of the intercept, this interpretation may not have any physical meaning. Okay, so now here, for the participant, I don't know whether you, download the data for this, exercise, because now basically, that I want to use the e-views, okay, for estimating, this logic regression. And here we are using the labor supply data, from this reference, where there are 753 observations. And this is basically the 1976 panel study of income dynamics. So here, Y, okay, that means this is basically the LFP, okay, it indicates 1 if a female is in the labor force, and 0 if she is not in the labor force. We assume that unemployment rate, wife wage, wife education, and family income as the labor force participation. But in this model, we use like LFP, this is the dummy variable. 1 if women work in this year, and 0 else. WA, it indicates the wife age. WE, it indicates wife educational attainment. KL6 indicates the number of children less than 6 years old. And UI, it indicates the stochastic error term. Okay, so now I want to do the that means the regression using the.
Can we ask the question?
Okay.
Regarding this model, sorry for interrupting, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, regarding the model, please show that your model, this one.
Oh, you want me to share it again? Okay. Okay.
Now you are saying that you are using this LFP against with the WA, WE, and KLG, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. For the independent variable, are you doing any decoding that, or you just take the absolute value?
For example, wife age, it is in years. And years.
So in this case, there's no any categorical value, means that you have to
don't use here any categorical values. For example, wife age, it is just age in years. Wife education also in years.
In years.
Then KL6, number of children less than 6 years. So I just this is basically I took the data from this source. Okay. So they used just the number of children who are below 6 years old. So no categorical.
No categorical, okay.
Only the dependent variable, it is the dummy variable, like 1 if they work and 0 otherwise.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you.
It's okay, but
Assalamu alaikum, doctor.
Alaikum salam.
My question goes like this. What is the difference between categorical variable, binary variable, and dummy variable?
A dummy variable is like, that this is something like binary also can be, like just now I mentioned to you, like 1, it represents the women if they work in the, like they are in the workforce, and 0 otherwise. Binary is like, it can have 2 values, like 1 and 0. And categorical means, for example, you do the survey, okay, on suppose education, okay. So you have several categories, for example, primary education, higher school education, then diploma, then undergraduate, postgraduate. So when you coding, like key in the data in your Excel file or your reviews data, so you can make it like category, for example, but remember that it follow the low to high, like primary you put 1, secondary school you put 2, then the degree you put 3, or diploma you put 3, then 4 is the university degree, 5, that means when the degrees are higher, the value of this numerical value 1, 2, 3, 4, it will be also higher. So this is called the categorical. Is it
Thank
clear?
you very much, Doctor. Yeah, but I still have a question to ask again.
Okay.
Can we call dummy variable as binary variable?
Yes, because dummy variable, it can be also, if you use 2 value, 1 and 0, it will be binary. But dummy variable, I think, yeah, it is also binary. Yeah.
Okay, so what is more professional? Is it binary or dummy? Which one should I be using if I'm maybe using on as my DV? Should I use dummy or I should use binary?
Because when you, in this case logic model, we are saying that this that means the dependent variable, it is like binary because it has two values, 1 and 0. So you can mention like logic model is basically used when the dependent variable it take two value like 0 and 1. It can be also the dummy variable.
Thank you very much for clearing. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, there are two participants raise their hand, so you can ask.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam.
May I ask a question?
Okay.
Is there a minimum sample for this logistic regression? Minimum sample? Is
yes,
there maybe 200 or above 36 or 30 maybe?
You know that if you want to have a better result, so the sample size, should be increased because it will reduce the, that means the discrepancy or the, your result will be more like valid if your sample size is more, because then it will properly represent the population. Yeah.
Is there any rule of thumb? Maybe how many?
Basically, we I think a different author mentioned a different number.
Oh, okay.
For getting the normal distribution, basically the sample size should be larger than 30, right?
Oh,
yeah. Because if it is less than, yeah.
Can we use this logistic regression using panel data?
Yes, you can use logic model also using panel data.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, is there any other question? I think Prof. Jahangir Alam, you raise your hand.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Rafia. Sorry for this internet disturbance. So, yeah, and I also have I seen already that research, but actually the threshold point that one of the participants was asking, and then you responded 30 is fine. That yeah, even we can use, for example, for sure that for the panel and then also logic model. So minimum sample size, but higher the sample size is the better allows to get the very good results, and then to get that the samples are normally distributed and so on. So that's the thing. Actually, just I wanted to compliment. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Jahangir. Is there any other question? Okay, so just let me give few minutes because I have to open my eViews. Okay, so now you understand from this model that the dependent variable is the labor force participation, and it is binary 0 and 1, and the independent variables are but basically there are many other independent variables in this data set, but just this is I make it simple in order to explain to you, because my objective is to explain is to help you how to interpret your regression result, because this is not basically the same as the interpretation of the simple or multiple linear regression model. Because just to understand here, the dependent variable, it indicates the probability of happening something, like whether it is 1 or probability of happening, the y value is 0. So of course, the interpretation should be different than the other, regression. So that's why I just want to, make it simple. But basically, this labor research economics, the independent variable actually basically many other, like unemployment rate, and also children, like husband's income, husband's age, or the female labor, their experience. So many other variables you can include it in the model. So what variable or what are the independent variable will be in your model? You know that one, you have to first study the all the theory about like labor supply. Okay, so there are labor supply theory. So you have to read the literature review, and you have to find out the variables which can affect this labor force participation, and then you can include in your model. But don't think like this is my the benchmark. This is just for explaining. Okay, please take don't because this is not my any study or any article I did it. So this is just basically to explain. So that's why if you want to do labor force participation, any research in your PhD or in your master's level, so you have to read your literature review, and you have to find out all the explanatory variables which can affect this labor force participation. Anyway, so I'm just stop sharing this PowerPoint, because I want to show you the e-views. Okay, hold on. Actually, I was not prepared to present this one, so that's why I have to first download my Excel file in this laptop. Just give me a few minutes, because I thought my presentation was in the afternoon anyway, because these things can happen, because this is we cannot control our technology. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, I think now I can share. So this is my Excel file, okay? And then now I am going to e-views, okay? Okay, can you see my e-views?
Yes.
Okay, so basically what we have to do first, I have to go to file, then you have to click open. Then since this is my Excel file, so I just click foreign data as work file. And then I have to choose my data file. Okay, it is in the desktop. So the name of the file is Rafia Logistic. And then I just click next, 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 and finish. Okay, so you can see these are my data. WA, it indicates wife ways. Wife means the female ways, education, WE. And LFP is the labor force participation. KL6, it indicates the children below 6 years old, number of children. Okay, so now what I have to do, I click quick, then I click estimate equation. Okay, then you write down first the dependent variable, LFP. Okay. Then you write down C. Then you have to write down one by one the independent variable. I don't have so many. So like WA, then WE, then the KL, sorry. okay, L6. Okay, now method, we can remember that here we cannot use the ordinary least square method. We have to use the, that means the maximum likelihood method. And but here it is like as binary, binary, we have to click binary. Okay, so then we are not doing probit, we are using logit model. Okay, then you click OK. Then you see that you get this, regression result. But now I'm going to the PowerPoint. Is there any question? Can I proceed to my PowerPoint, because I copy and paste this result to my, PowerPoint in order to explain the result. Okay, so now I just stop sharing. I'm again going to my PowerPoint. Okay, now you see that this is the, just the regression result. Just now we got it. Okay, so first you see that dependent variable LFP method maximum likelihood, okay, ML. So I think just search or you can read it from the econometric books, and this is the binary logit model. Here, this is the observation, and here this is the regression result. So now here you see that this is the intercept 0.523316. This is the coefficient for WA, that means the women age. This is the coefficient for education, and this is the coefficient for the children number below 6 years old. And this is the standard error. This is Z statistics. Okay, you see that we are not using T statistic. This is Z statistics, and this is the probability. Okay, so first we need to explain how to interpret this, intercept and the slope or coefficient. Okay, so just now I mentioned to you that actually here intercept is not so important. So we are going to now explain the slope or coefficient. So each slope coefficient in this equation, we call it partial slope coefficient, and it measures the change in the estimated logit for a unit change in the value of a given independent variable. And remember that holding other independent variables constant. Okay, so thus the WA coefficient, which is near like minus 0.06, it means that with other variables held constant, that means if wife age increases by a 1 unit, on average, the estimated logit decreases by about 0.06 unit, and it's suggesting a negative relationship between the two. So, and then you can see that other variables, they have all significant, effect. And then similarly, you can explain the education also, okay, in this way, how we explain the age, okay. And all the variables are significant. Why? Because the probability p-value is less than 0.05, and this, if you follow the rule of thumb, 2T rule of thumb, it is greater than 1.96, the Z value, right? So we can say that all the variables, they are significant. And however, together, all the independent variables have a significant impact on the female labor participation in the labor force, because this LR statistic, it is 97.66, and its p-value is very small, like 0.0000. So now you can say that this, when we explain this way, this is actually, that this coefficient returned by our logit model are difficult to interpret intuitively, and hence it is common to report odds raised instead. So now, and odds ratio, okay, less than 1, okay, less than 1, that an increase in X leads to a decrease in the odds that Y equal to 1. and an odds ratio greater than 1, it means that an increase in X leads to an increase in the odds that Y equal to 1. In general, we can say that the percentage change in the odds given a 1 unit change in the predictor can be determined in this way. Like percentage change in odds, it is equal to 100 times odd ratio minus 1. For example, here for the wife is, okay, it leads to 100 times, how we get this 0.945? You have to take the, the, that means the natural log value of this one, okay, like from the, the calculator, you can calculate this one, because this is, the exponential value of negative 0.05, you take this value, it becomes 0.945, then minus 1, so it equal to minus 5.43. So that means we can say that when the wife age increases, it leads to 5.43% decrease in the odds of the female labor force participation. So we can actually basically, in other way, we can say that the probability of the female labor, okay, whether they will be included in the labor force, it will be decreased by 5.43% when their age will be increases. Okay, so in addition, we can explain similarly the, the education, that an increase on the wife education leads to 100 times. That means you take this 0.20, the exponential value. Okay, it will become 1.224 minus 1. That means 22.46% increase in the odds of the female labor force participation. Or we can say that the probability of the female labor to be included in the labor force will be increases by 22.46% with their, education increase. Like the highly educated women, their probability will be increased by 22.46%, okay, to be included in the labor force participation. Finally, for this, children below 6 years old, it leads to the 76.12% decrease in the odds of the female labor participation. And just now I mentioned to you, all the variables are significant. So that is the way actually you can understand now, that is the difference between logit model and with other simple linear regression, because here the dependent variable, it indicates the probability. So now I think that's the end of my discussion today. Now I just want to know if there are any questions.
Assalamualaikum. Yes, from our participants, if you have any question, you can raise your hand or you can write in the chat box. I see one brother asked in the chat box, what do you mean by C?
C, it is basically the intercept. Like, that, that how to interpret the, regression when like other values are 0. Okay, the probability of the female to be included in the, model will be 0.52 or 52.33%. But remember that other variables are 0.
Okay, one question is there, and another brother already answered. Still, the question is, what's odds ratio?
Where have you find? Okay, this 0.945. I take. Okay, I show you how I get. Okay, hold on. Remember that the coefficient is 0. 0.05 or 0.6. Okay, hold on. .05, right? Okay, I am stop sharing. Now I show you using the calculator. I don't know whether I can share you the calculator. Okay. Basically, you have to take the the natural log of this your coefficient. Okay. So that means when you use your calculator, okay, you have to click shift ln, then it will take the exponential value. Okay, so when you take the exponential value of this, you can use your calculator. Okay, take the exponential value of this, because okay, I show you again. You see that from here, this because this pi divided by 1 minus pi, it is our dependent variable, right? So when we get the coefficient, okay, that because the regression is like e to the power pi divided by 1 minus pi equal to e to the power z, and from here we get like ln of this ratio or odds is equal to zi, okay, and we get this regression. So that means if I want to calculate these odds, then we have to take the exponential value of beta 2. Do you understand? From this regression, we understand that if I want to find out the probability or the odds of this value, we have to take the exponential value of beta 2. So that's why when we want to find out the percentage change in the odds, okay, you know that how we can calculate the percentage change. We have to find out the exponential of this, this coefficient for wife age. You take the exponential value of this one, okay. Then minus 1, then you can like here, this is the exponential value of negative 0.05, then minus 1, then you have to find it in the percentage. That's why you multiply 100. Okay, so just take the exponential value of negative 0.0556, you will get 0.945. Actually, I cannot show you using the calculator, because the calculator, the laptop calculator, it doesn't the same, it is not the same the calculator that I have. So remember that if you take the exponential value of negative 0.055866, you will get the 0.945. Similarly, if you take the exponential value of 0.202588, you will get 1.224. Then minus 1, you get the percentage increase or decrease in this. Is it clear?
Madam, thank you. Again, Brother Ajim asked the question that what is the R square value and adjusted R square. Maybe he wanted to know how to calculate it in the calculator.
Here, basically, in this logic model, we don't use the R square, that normal R square value like this linear regression. Here we are using this McFadden R square value, which is 0.094843. And how to explain this one? That all the independent variable, it explain the variation in the dependent variable by 9.48%. Or the variation in the dependent variable or the probability, it explained by the independent variable by how much? 9.48. The variation in the dependent variable, it is explained by how much? 9.48 by this explanatory variable. Okay. So it is not not the adjusted or the, so this is the McFadden, you know, R square value. This is the difference.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. Brother Mizanur Alone asked that what should we do if independent variables are categorized?
Yeah, you can use the categorized variable also in this case, no problem. But then the interpretation will be like, you know, that like you have to, if you just now mentioned to you that higher education indicate the higher value of the, you know, numerical value, because you have to categorize like 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher education, lower education means lower value, and higher education means higher value. So it will be indicate like when you are highly educated, the probability of included in the labor participation will be increases by this amount. Like then the coefficient maybe will be different because you are using the, you know, the categorical variable. So you can use categorical variable for the independent variable, no problem. Because the independent variable or explanatory variable can be qualitative, can be, you know, quantitative. That means they can be categorical, no problem. Yeah. Is there any other question?
Madam, I see one more question is here in the chat box. Brother Alauddin asked.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Yes.
I saw that you use binary logic regression.
Yeah.
And what is the difference between binary logic and normal regression, logistic regression? Because in logistic regression, I saw that instead of using R square, they use pseudo R square. Is it the same thing?
Logistic regression, maybe they are different than the logic model, but in this case, just you have to understand that in this logic model, the dependent variable will be binary.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and we use the McFadden R square.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, madam. The question I was asking from Brother Alauddin, he said C is observed to be insignificant here. What should we do? What would be the interpretation in this case?
I don't understand that.
Okay, I repeat the question. He said C is observed to be insignificant here.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would be the interpretation in this case?
If you find that the C is not significant, maybe you can skip the interpretation of the C. But if you find that it is significant, but then maybe you have to interpret this way. Just now I mentioned to you that if other variables are equal to 0, then the probability of, you know, included in the labor force for the female labor will be 0.52, or you can say 52.33%. Yeah. But here, since it is not significant, but usually in the logic model, we assume that it is not very important to, you know, interpret, because sometimes it is very, you know, the unrealistic. So no need to explain the intercept.
Okay. Thank you, madam, for the answer session. Is there anyone still you have some question in your mind? Please, you can write here in the chat box, or you can ask the question directly, no problem.
Assalamu alaikum.
No, if it is insignificant, that doesn't mean that it is not acceptable. Just I mentioned to you, if it is insignificant, no need to interpret. You just interpret the coefficient.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Prof, please, can you do us a favor by like a slight difference between the logic and the probit?
Yes, there is difference between logit and probit, but today actually I'm not going to explain the probit model. Only the difference is for the just now mentioned to you, for the logit model, it will be cumulative CDF, right? Cumulative distribution function. But for the probit, it become normal distribution. Okay. So that is so that's why some people they prefer the probit model, not the logit model. But basically in this logit there can be multinomial logit model, and basically it is very important or significant model when your dependent variable is qualitative.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Yeah, that's why nowadays there are many ordered probit model, ordered logit model, even there is probit model also. So this is today I just explained the basic one, okay? Because I don't know the level of the student, whether they are in the advanced level, because if you are not familiar with this, this qualitative response model, so if I go the advanced level, maybe you don't understand. So maybe in the near future, if we can have another workshop series, maybe we can explain in advanced level. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, any more question here? Okay, one more question is here from Brother Ajim. Does logic model remove the heteroscedasticity and autocorrelation problem?
Yes, because in the linear probability model, just now I mentioned to you, they actually have this heteroscedasticity problem. So the logit model, it improved this heteroscedasticity. Yeah, they can remove the heteroscedasticity and the autocorrelation problem. Basically, you know that in the logit model, the linear probability model, just now I mentioned to you, the error term also depends on the the independent variable. Okay, so that's why it become heteroscedastic. So, but in this case, for the logit model, the UI it become like homoscedastic. So, yeah, because we are using the odds, the ratio. Okay, so that's why it can overcome this problem.
Okay, so if anyone else you have anything in your mind, you can ask freely, no problem. If no more questions, so I should give some information about our workshop series. First of all, thank you for all the participants here, those who are attending and those who registered to attend in our different sessions. We found almost 400 of registered participants, but we know that all are not participating in a session, as there are almost 9 sessions. So the participation list is together 400. So hopefully we can reach more students or academicians through our Facebook Live, so that they can be helpful for our session, for our workshop series. Those who registered already, so we sent email to them with all the relevant information of the workshop, like joining information, then software installment information, together with the program schedule. So if anyone they didn't find our email in their inbox, please check your spam box, because I found that some participants, they asked me personally. So, and I understood that many of you maybe didn't receive any email. So please check your inbox, check your spam box if still you didn't find the joining information and workshop information. And those who still want to join our session, we shared our Facebook live, so that we can reach more people. And for the software installation, some of participants, they contacted me personally. They were facing problem with installation of the softwares. As this session is free of cost, we try to reach our students and academicians to provide some benefit from this full workshop session. So we didn't charge any amount, and those who are researchers here already informed that, already know that the software, most of the software are not free. So from the trainer or our session conductor, they shared, if available, free version is available in the Google, free software is available. So we already shared the instruction. So please try to have a free version, or if you have your own, then I think it will be helpful for you. And if anyone cannot install or don't have any way to get the software, please join in the session and follow the procedure, take notes, so that in future you can use the same guideline when you need to do in your own research. So this all are the information from our site. And I see one maybe staff or lecturer asked here from IIUM, said why there is no ITD point or like this. For him or other students, really we are sorry. Actually, as this session is, we are trying to make it free. So we are not focusing on other issues to get more benefit, or maybe it's our limitation. If it's only for our IIM student or IIM staffs, then we should think one way. As I found that our registered participants are from various countries in the world. So we think that we can reach many platforms. If one person from one country, maybe later on he can share the learning with others. So this way we will try to reach many people in the world. So as our session was until 1 p.m., but for the interruption of internet connection, we already informed that the session was for Prof. Jahangir, but because of internet connection, we couldn't reach him, and we just instantly rescheduled the session. So those who are waiting for the for Dr. Rafia's session in the afternoon, I don't know if you miss anyway, so you can rewatch the session from Facebook Live, or later on if we have recorded session, available recorded session, we will share with you as we have your email address. So we will share the link of our recorded version, so that you can rewatch again in your need. So Dr. Rafia, what should we do now? Do we need to close the session for now, or we can process with other issues?
Because you already mentioned to the participant that we will have Prof. Jahangir's session on the afternoon, so I think we can end the session here. So, and again, I am inviting all the participants to join our very interesting topic, okay, which will be delivered by Prof. Jahangir. Please don't miss it, because when I planned, just that the idea came to my mind that actually I'm the PG coordinator. So during my coordinatorship, I found that the thesis, master thesis or PhD thesis, most of them are doing like the ARDL model or panel ARDL or that is called the structural equation modeling. So that's why I planned like why not we can have one workshop where we can explain the nonlinear ARDL or the threshold that will be delivered by Prof. Jahangir Alam, and also smart PLS, and then the the GERCH model at the advanced level, and also the panel data, which will be delivered by our two distinguished professors, one from Pakistan, another from University Science Malaysia. So I think all of you will enjoy all the sessions. So please join our afternoon session. Okay, so that's all from me. I think we can end our session now here. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you, Madam Rafia, and all other participants, including our trainers also are here. So we would like to appreciate all of your time and your comments, everything. So inshallah, we will try to improve our program if there is any shortcomings and limitations. So we'll share you the evaluation form through email, as if the session will finish here, then you cannot access the link. So I will share the evaluation form, and your evaluation is very much important for us to improve our activity in future, and to know what other important issues in your mind we can provide. So altogether, inshallah, we will try to organize more programs like this. So for now, in the morning session, thank you everyone for joining here. So we can finish our session here before end of the session. Let's recite Surah Al-Asr, and we finish the session. Salam. Okay, thank you everyone. See you in the next session at 2:30 p.m. Malaysian time. Please adjust your time from your location. See you there, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.